Like I say, I'm not Lucifer or suffer, not with a C. Caesar. By the way, that was Lucifer Caesar. That was a piece of shit. And black, I believe. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think he is black. I don't really know. Give some color. Like I said, there's a lot of people having names. Anyway, trying to use my my loose S for that's why you have a curved wheel with S spokes, and it had to do with my metallurgy and my metal. My metal was good enough and strong enough that you didn't need a straight spoke. And a lot of things, if you don't have a straight spoke or a straight whatever, it would just crack and break. But I had actual steel and not just cast iron at some point in time, so I did because steel is stronger than cast iron, so we did S things, and it was a gimmick, or not a gimmick, but I mean it was a advertisement thing saying that our steel is so strong that that we can actually get away with doing S spokes. So because otherwise you need to have what's called. And I also invented other spoked wheels where like you have hangers, the wheels actually being hung on the spoke, and stuff like that. Anyway, a lot of wheels. The first wheel place was actually like a wooden wheel place or whatever. And I owned it, and then I kind of went like, whatever. And they just used it for spare parts for the other wooden wheels, because we also made wagons or carriages at the same time. So they kept it going after. And it's just wood, and they just, what's it called? And most of it, and we used to use by the way, real wheels are made out of oak wood or hardwood of some type, and not pine. But JFK or Nixon was actually using pine for a lot of the wooden wheels of the wagons and stuff, and that's like chunk wood that just rots out in like 3 or 4 years. My wheels were actually, and we actually used like a treatment process to also preserve the wood as well, using steam or something, or high pressure. I think it was high heat, high pressure. Formaldehyde or something like that. We used some sort of preservative for the wood that would preserve the wood. I think the first formaldehyde was actually used as a preservative for wood or whatever. But it was also found to be carcinogenic or something like that. So we switched over to something a little bit better. Anyway, over the years we've done lots of this, lots of that, and it's basically just production and pretty much to make wooden wheels last longer, wood last longer. And I think that's what we use for formaldehyde at first, because it's also antibacterial, anti-mold, anti-this, anti-that, and pretty much is really good. And then later on they use it for preserving bodies and stuff like that, because it kills everything basically. It's like this concoction of all these different ingredients that pretty much guaranteed to kill whatever's in there, and pretty much it's like really 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 nasty, like really really serious stuff that can kill any kind of bacteria. Anyway, whatever. It was used as a wood preservative, actually. That's what it's actually used for, is preserving wooden wheels or whatever. Anyway, whatever. I don't really know, because they blame me for a lot of stuff, including like that's why the Auschwitz facilities, they were like, it's a gas chamber, and it's like, no, that was actually somebody else, and it was actually like somebody was mislabeling they actually labeled certain things as one chemical, but it was actually a different chemical. They switched the labels on all these things. So while they thought they were actually giving these people soap or something like that, they were actually pumping in some sort of nasty gas. And it was actually like, and as soon as it was caught right away, and they actually killed the Germans at the site to be able to do it, to kill those people. And it didn't last very long, I don't think. They only lasted for a little while, and then we got to it because as soon as people were saying they're killing people, I was like, it's got to be one of my sites. I want to get people down in there. And I actually ordered and forced a 4-star general, somebody, to actually go to every single base, every single site, and take a platoon of people to find out where this place was. And we actually got the people like right there. And then they were being turned away, and I was like, what the fuck? What do you mean they're being turned away? Get up in there. And the locals and some other people, we actually raided one of the facilities. And we actually found this little shit splinter group there, or something like that. Anyway, and then there was war and death and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, John McCain and Richard Nixon, Jimmy Carter, and some of the people that were been cruising around the Washington, D.C. building are basically complete and total pieces of shit, and lying to everyone about what they were doing there, and taking pictures saying, oh, we're doing this, but they're actually doing that. And Washington, D.C. actually spent a lot of years as a college of motors and science. And they were actually trying to make gold or something like that, or some kind of metal or whatever. But anyway, like I said, they grossly underestimated. Like I said, if you're going to be heating up or using an iron somewhere or a direct short somewhere, your motors are always going to heat up. It's going to heat up all the way down the line and all the way back to the motor. So if you're working at 500,000 degrees over here, or like 50,000 degrees over here, it's going to go down the line all the way back to the motor, and then your motors are going to be working at like 2,000 degrees or 500 degrees or even 15,000 degrees. So copper is not good enough for those great big huge DC or the motors. Anyway, so this was a problem back in the day during the Mirage Dam, whatever, and we just used titanium or tantalum, based tantalum, I believe, which is a really hard, strong metal that can take temperatures up to 5,000 degrees. So anyway, and that was my secret, basically, was that I wasn't using copper, but Rodney and a whole bunch of other people thought I did use copper because we rewired the motors as copper. And rewired all the way back up to the thing, and used stranded wire or something like that, and they thought that's how I had done it, but of course I hadn't done it like that. I had used tantalum wiring and all kinds of stuff, or titanium wiring and all kinds of stuff, because it could take the heat. But they had thought I had used the other stuff and had shot all my people and killed all my people, and I was pretty much the only one who actually knew about this, and even Rodney was like, much smaller. And I said, no, and small motors won't work. You need big motors because it just distributes out the heat. Well, you can use small motors because it does distribute out the heat better. But realistically, it's just better just to go with big ones. Anyway, that's what we did, and that's how I did it. And I was making gold and uranium. Or depleted uranium, I don't know. But basically, the metal chamber, we were getting a residue of some radioactive uranium at the bottom. So, anyway, and that's also why it's called uranium, because it uraniums down. It rains down over all the different things. Rains. That's why they call it uranium. Because it's the heaviest particle and rains down over the thing. Gold rains down too, but gold, like I said, a lot of particles, when you get them up to 50,000 degrees or 100,000 degrees, as they're going down through the stack, they pick up other little elements. They're like, I like you, and then they sink lower, because in a stack of minerals or particulate matter, depending, the light ones will go up to the top, and the heavy ones will go down to the bottom. And at 50,000 degrees, it loosens up the carbon bond, the carbon bonds, or the bonds of the molecules, to go, I don't like you anymore. And he goes, and then sometimes they'll go, I like you. And so the molecules rearrange or change at like temperatures of up to 5,000 to 50,000 degrees. So what is a rock here on Earth and granite becomes gold or something else like that. So at 100,000 or 50,000 degrees, this reaction happens. So using water power and stuff like that, you can get this stuff to happen. So which basically equals rivers of gold. And there's video of that. But no one really knew how I was doing it. So, anyway. And because they killed all my people, or shooting people, or lying about who I was and everything else, they waited for me to tell it to everyone. So, anyway, I actually might have told people when I was a child. But then again, they shot and killed and lied about it there, too. So apparently I have to tell the whole world somehow. And they were planning on killing me. I guess I told people when I was like 9 or 8 years old, and probably back in 1960. So they wanted to kill me back then and lie about it, and they always want to kill me and lie about it. And it's like, because I am the real Lucifer star, and basically a bunch of people wanted to steal everything from me and kill me, and basically wanted to just, I don't know. It's like there's so much money and so many resources in the universe anyway that it's like, there was this epic big plan to like basically kill the creator of all life. And maybe even unexist me from ever having existed, because they were so horrible, and they basically just ran through the streets shooting people. And then didn't really give a fuck about laws or anything. So, and it's like anyone can pick up a gun and just go running through the streets and shooting people and just shoot your way to the top. Which is pretty much what they did. They got a gun, and then they basically shot their way all the way even to the White House, or all the way to some place, until someone finally put a bullet in their head. trying to shoot their way to space, which really doesn't work out very well.